So I think data, when we can make it more open to the public and make it more democratized in a way, allows people to kind of see bigger context of things. And that can mean sometimes that we are confirming biases or even challenging biases as well. So oftentimes I think we kind of looking at data and it doesn't really show us much, but maybe it's in the details as well. So I think just kind of making it accessible for everyone to understand is very essential, and people want to see this as well. I think in the last 5 years, there's just been a very massive increase in people wanting to see how data can make sense of their world and kind of complement what they're seeing, or maybe even open their eyes to something else as well that they weren't expecting. So transparency in data is not actually in the data itself. It's all about what we do as data practitioners, which is something I learned very early on when I started out in data visualization. I realized the importance of what we're actually doing, because when we map something out or we show them a chart, the impact of that visualization is far more powerful than words or even a picture could even do. And so what I realized is that the transparency actually comes from the human input behind it. So we have to be super careful about how the data that we're collecting, that it's accurate, that the way it was collected is accurate, as well as how we're presenting that data. Yeah, I think transparency in data is really about the people that are working with the data itself. So we have the responsibility to make sure that we're doing everything we can to present the data as accurately as possible, because often data collection is manipulated. It can be manipulated as well. So that's something that we work really hard on. How do I deal with data? And I say that I'm interviewing the data the same way that I would a person or an expert. I'm interviewing it. So I need to be looking at it as a tool, as a resource, but not the only part of my storytelling. Storytelling is something that we have innately as humans. We all can relate to stories, and I think even like in our team in particular, we've got developers and designers that are also contributing to the way that we form up our stories. So it's not just the journalists themselves. This becomes really important when we're thinking about visualizing things. And I think everyone can kind of, they feel something when they see a visualization that touches them. So the interesting difference between Asia and sort of Europe or Western countries right now in terms of data interpretation, data literacy, is that we're a little bit behind in Asia in terms of like where we're at. So it's coming up into the trend of looking at data visualization as a tool, and often it gets misconstrued, I think, in that it becomes taken as fact and as objective truth. And that works sometimes in my favor, because it means that when I'm presenting a chart, people in Asia are like more able to kind of accept it for what it is, but that also comes with like really, to me, great responsibility. And I think that's something that the people, like the data practitioners in Europe and the US, are definitely conscious of, becoming more conscious of, is the fact that the way we present it can manipulate the way people interpret it as well. So I think Asia's not quite, it's a little bit behind in terms of the uptake on that. And so I can use that objectivity to my advantage, but I really take that on as like a responsibility of mine. My biggest challenge right now is to convince my editors and the people in power that our audience can understand complexity through data visualization. So often we tend to fall back on the less risky options, like bar charts or line charts. Instead, I'm definitely in the realm of trying something a little bit more interesting in the efforts to bring joy to our readers, and also to have them remember something at the end of the day. Because I think often people forget the exact sort of version of the DataViz, but they remember the message or they remember something different about it. So I think memorability is something really important to me, and allowing like audience to, we don't have to oversimplify things. We can be complex with what we're telling. Yeah.